So you got to have this method and signature system. I call it a signature system for your soul work that sells, right? That leads to unlocking earning power. And stop working on whether you're confident enough or feel like you're worthy of money or not. Because when you can see the value, you can sell the value.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Women Rocking Business. I'm so excited to be here with my friend, Julie Steelman, who is an incredible income acceleration coach for women entrepreneurs. In her corporate career, spanning over 3 decades, Julie generated over $100 million in sales and achieved financial freedom at the age of 47, which is why I wanted to get her here talking to you about how do we as women actually increase our havingness and our mindset to have that kind of financial freedom. And it's really uncommon for a woman to earn her way out of corporate America at such a young age. Julie, how did that happen? What are some of the mindset shifts that gave you the courage to go for that?
Yeah, it started for me when I was a little kid, when I was 6 years old, watching Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And I got so enthralled, because I was the baby in the family. I had to get up and change the channels. So that was back in the day when there were no voice remotes. You had to actually physically walk over to the television, and there's like 5 channels with rabbit ears and tinfoil on it. So, yes, I'm absolutely dating myself. And we had the privilege of watching this technology grow, but I had a download. And I had this moment where it was, you need to go to Africa before you die. So all the videos of the lions and the leopards and the cheetahs. And I was like, it was as if I couldn't breathe. And this thing came through, and I looked around at my family and I went, they're never going to let me go. They're too conservative. My mom is way too overprotective. I'm going to have my own money. Like, I just knew it was like this direct imperative. You need to make your own money if you want your freedom. And I don't know why as a little kid, but it was that very clear divine message. And it became an unapologetic intention. And that's one of the things that we got to have if we want financial security, income security, financial freedom, lasting income, is a moment of sovereignty when you choose yourself, and a moment when you say, I'm entitled to this too. And, fast forward through my years in school, everything that I chose in my whole life, every stepping stone was about, I'm making my own money so I can get to Africa. And it might sound like ludicrous, like get on a plane and go, but it was a soul actualizing kind of thing. And so now looking back at how I navigated the paradigm of masculinity in corporate America in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s was the center hub of the patriarchy in the sales organization, right? One of 2 women out of 400 people. How is that possible? And you have to look back and go, how do I create the conditions within myself and within all the steps that I take for financial security to be my reality? That has to be your question, right? And it's like, I started to realize the day I was in a sales meeting, I was working at MSN. We were launching the internet. It was like the heyday. No one knew what we were doing. We were pushing a rock up a hill and telling everybody to stop advertising on television and get online. And it was so fun. But at the same time, it was this, grow, collapse industry. I walk into a sales meeting and the VP pops a slide up on the stage and basically says, we're going to decide who gets deleted. I'm like, what? And it was when that moment when everyone became a line item on a spreadsheet. I had my Mercedes. I lived at the beach. I was in LA. I had the money, the accolades, all of it. And I went, I can't do this. And I went on a trip and I went scuba diving, and I ended up swimming with wild bottlenose dolphins in a mating ritual by myself. To this day, I've never seen footage of what I saw. And I knew I could never roam the planet again without a camera. But I also got catalyzed into no one owns me. And I went back and I said, I'm going to treat my job as if it's my own entrepreneurial business. I stopped doing what the corporate dudes were telling me to do because it was hard to sort of fake it and use their tactics And I started being me. I started problem solving. I started understood people's businesses. I was working with household brands. Apple was my biggest client. I was on NDAs launching all the products we now use that no one knew were coming out, you know? And it was like, no matter what I sold for whom, myself or anyone else, that talent went with me. So I have my own sovereignty. No one owns me, and I'm the talent.
I hope you're
That's,
writing this down.
yeah.
I hope you're writing this down. These are key mindset shifts. I love when you take us back to those moments where you
Yeah.
took back that power and that sovereignty for yourself. And like, what do you think is the biggest obstacle for women that keeps them from having this
Yeah.
kind of a breakthrough around their sovereignty, their finances?
I think that there's a lot of, we all grown up with different sources of disempowerment, whether it's religion or culture or families, because that was the environment in which we grew up and how people thought life went. And we're at this, what I call a quantum quickening with the world on fire and everything that's happening to everyone. And we're being the chaos is catalyzing us quickly. And as the feminine's rising, we have to rise in our own financial empowerment, or that cycle cannot be complete.
Mm.
Money is not the kryptonite to the feminine. Money is a tool for transformation and it's your ally. The biggest obstacle is that you think that you have a money problem. And the truth is, you have a self trust problem that doesn't allow you to step into saying, this is my dream and I'm unapologetic about it.
I felt that one go through my body. You don't have a money problem, you have a self-trust problem.
Yeah.
And you get to claim that the desires you have, the value that you're feeling that you want to give, that's good and right and beautiful. That's what the world needs from you. Julie, what have you found to be like the missing piece or the secret that kind of
Yeah.
helps women unlock this financial security in our businesses?
Yeah. So there's this wheel that I've created, but it really starts with your purpose and your passion, right? And then it turns into impact. It turns into contribution. It turns into something that you want to impact people to have because you used to be in on the opposite side of that and now you're on the positive side of that, right? And you don't want anybody else to feel or experience or suffer like you did. And it doesn't, from bookkeeping to breath work, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. And then you've got to be able to turn that into a methodology, a unique methodology, a system, all those modalities, the credentials, the certifications that you have. Stop abdicating to the mentor. You synthesized them into your own system of wisdom that got you out of the trap that you were in, right? So you got to have this method and signature system. I call it a signature system for your soul work that sells, right? That leads to unlocking earning power and stop working on whether you're confident enough or feel like you're worthy of money or not. Because when you can see the value, you can sell the value. And all of a sudden, you create a map and a blueprint that a client sees the journey that you're going to take them on. They can see exactly how they're going to get the result and the steps they need to take. They don't question you on it. You get to yes faster with a client,
I love this.
right? That creates solidarity in a business that you can make it book chapters, modules, masterminds, programs, mini offers, mega offers, all of it, right? Too many women launch businesses and practices and they don't know what the heck they're selling. And that breaks them down. Like you always say, we got to protect your confidence. This will protect your confidence when you get income stability and security. Then you can get to financial freedom. Then you build in philanthropic effort, right? Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, it's so key. And I love this piece where you're pointing us toward the mama bear in us that doesn't
Yeah.
want anybody to have to go through the things that we went
Right.
through that caused us the most pain. And we all have a mama bear in us. And if we can identify what that is and turn that into a system that other people need, we're never going to be without clients again, right? Because the framework for making money in business is having stuff that people want to buy. It's like we make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. And so I'm just loving
Yeah.
this. And like, I know that you focus a lot of your work on income acceleration.
Yeah.
What would you say is like, how can you keep pointing us toward like a process of actually getting to that security for ourselves?
Yeah, I think one of the things is like if you stood back and you said, here's who I help to do what so they can have, be, do, right? Just basic, simple answer that. And let's say your best friend brought her daughter or her son to you and said, how can you help? What's the first thing you would say? What's the first thing you know they need? That's the first step in your system. That's a mini offer. That's a salon. That's a 3 session something. It's a 6 week course. Take one idea and make it a really big deal because we want to pour our whole life into somebody in 1 hour and we end up overwhelming them and they end up getting confused. And here's my analogy for that. When you go to fine dining, they don't bring you the water, the wine, the bread, the soup, the salad, the entree, and the dessert all at once, right? That would ruin the whole experience. You would be overwhelmed going, where do I start? And you wouldn't remember all the art of the palettes that are being created, right? So they slow it down and they bring you the wine and then they bring you the soup and they might bring you the bread and the salad, right? And it's like, give people a minute to digest the big idea and make a big deal out of it. You can make $5,000 in a month by doing a mini thing. I sent out an email 2 weeks ago because I felt it in the field. This is the other thing. Wild instinct, mama bear, the knowing that you have. Stop second guessing it. I had a feeling there's someone in my world who wants something now. And I sent one email, I sent it to everybody, and I said, I'm doing an income accelerator salon. 5 women, you'll know if it's you, no enrollment calls, no reminder emails, nothing. Here's the payment link if you want to be in. If you don't, that's cool too. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Within 3 days, I filled it. I made $3,000 in one email. One person upgraded to a mini something. So it's like, it doesn't have to be hard, right? One step, $3,000. You can do it too.
I love it. I love the combination of being strategic and trusting your intuition, trusting your inner knowing,
Yeah.
trusting that more wild primal part of us that just knows and preventing ourselves from overcomplicating it when it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. And what would you tell women listening right now who think they just don't have what it takes?
That's a lie. It's a lie. And wherever in your psyche or your experience or the traumas or the stories that you got told, it's someone else's lie and it's not your truth. And the truth is, if you have a burning calling inside of you, you're being pinged because you're being called. It's not the other way around where we're sit and think and make up, oh, I'll do this for a living or, oh, I want to do that. I actually think we're being pinged all the time. And that wild instinct has the audacity and the moxie to actually listen to that over anything anyone else ever tells you. I'm not saying blow up your life and tell everybody to F off. I'm saying that there's moments when all of you listening to this know what I'm talking about, that you know how to listen to the field and you've had a moment when you've been downloaded with something that you've been nudged, right? That follow that. Follow the leadership of your knowing.
Follow the leadership of your knowing. We cannot build a business with templates and mentors alone. We need
No.
mentors and we need proven processes, but we need our deep knowing. it's always been my deep knowing that actually leads me to my mentors anyway. Is that true
Yeah.
for you? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I just know I have to work with this person, right? If I'm going to be the culmination of the 5 people I spend the most time with, I need to throw this energy into the mix,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's something that I just so admire about you, Julie. You take yourself out into the wilderness, you fly yourself to Africa, you sit with the wild cats, and you also have spent a lifetime investing in mentors. And as we wrap up, what would be the last piece of advice that you'd have for women who want to be able to trust themselves at such a deep level, but sometimes they doubt?
Yeah, I think you have to think of a place or an area in your life where you thrive or have thrived, and go back to her. What was it she was doing? And I bet you that you were listening within and you were following an impulse of something that mattered to you, that was important to you. When I'm out there in the wild, eye level with polar bears, bobcats, lions. I've walked with cheetahs for over 90 days, 9 of them wild. Is There's an uncommon knowing. And what, like I said earlier about you don't have a money issue, you have a self-trust problem, that it's a choice to decide to trust yourself. It's not about whether it works or it doesn't work or it fails or it blows up exponentially. It's about that you can resource yourself on the other side of whatever happens and that you'll be okay. That's what we have to come into when we become in our fierce feminine sovereignty and be unapologetic about being paid well for our gifts and our integrity and our talents, because only you can synthesize what you've learned the way that you've learned it, and only you have the lived experience that you have. And when you bring that together, that's a uniqueness. And while we are all one, you are a specific DNA energetic signature that can never, ever be replicated. Trust that, and trust that you're here living and breathing because you're needed. And it's just that simple. You have to choose it.
Julie, thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for the way that you describe our own individual opportunity to claim our self trust and claim our sovereignty, because that's where our financial flow is, right? It's all root chakra stuff. It's all the base of who we are. And I know that you've got a free gift that you let me know you would share with my women, because I knew there were going to be women in my world that would be like, oh, how do I get a little bit more of Julie Steelman?
Yeah.
She, her, per.
I have a 5 fast mindset shifts for 2024 that will accelerate your income and get you on the path to financial security. Because our relationship with money is about our relationship with power. Your relationship with self-security shows up in financial security. They're directly related. So we got to get you thinking differently, being differently, offering differently, and actually making bolder moves, even if you're one of the shy or introverted ones. Obviously, I'm not, although I can have that I have my times when I withdraw, but it's really about are you willing to put your stand for the impact and client's transformation above your fear of doing it? Would you be willing to do that? And in this free guide, it's fast, fun, and friendly. It's like 2 scrolls and you've got it, right? And that's what we want, is to get you thinking differently so that you are generating income in a way that matches what you deserve to be making.
Julie has a way of thinking about this stuff that I just think resonates so deeply for myself and my girlfriends that have been in Julie's presence. So grab her mindset guide. You won't regret it. Download it. I'll add the link here in the show notes and in the comments. And Julie, it's just such an honor to get to be your friend, your mentor, your colleague, your soul sister. And I adore you. Thank you so much for standing for women's financial freedom.
Thank you for all that you do and seeing me in the way that you do and edifying me in the way that you do. You've been a massive positive impact in my life. And I just like, let's just keep doing it.
Let's all do it. Let's all do it together. It's so much easier when we go together. I love you, Julie. And
I love you
Julie and
too.
I are sending our love to every single one of you. Keep going. Your financial freedom. That was cool. Your financial freedom is a part of what's going to change the world. So claim it for yourself and claim it for us.